Good afternoon and blessings out there, everybody. What's going on? It's your man, Rod Hickman, Generational Wealth Builders, where poverty ends with us. Listen, happy Sunday to you. And it's on International Women's Day. Still celebrating that this weekend. And boy, do we have a show for you all today. Again, as y'all know, I'm Rod Hickman. I am the leader of the Generational Wealth Builders, and our motto is to end poverty. We want to kick poverty's behind. But again, not my time to talk today. But again, so as you know, I'm in business. We're in the insurance business, right? We're in the financial services industry. And one thing I love about our company is that it has allowed us to come across some phenomenal people. It's allowed us to actually be elbow to elbow with some pretty amazing people. And on today, our guest for today is one of those people that walks and fills those big shoes. Now, with that being said, because it's International Women's Day, I didn't want to just go and interview a woman. I wanted to interview an international woman. That's the kind of stuff you get when you follow this guy here. So again, like, share, all those things there. But yeah, no, the lady that I'm going to bring up to you today, she is a broker in the insurance industry. She's on her way to making $250,000 a year in this business. Again, working out of the South Florida area. A very good friend of mine. Someone who I really look up to. Again, she and I, we talk a lot. Again, we bounce ideas off one another because what I love about being in business is when you can actually compete with someone and not against someone, there's a big difference. And again, that's what I love about our company. I love that our company is full of people that are competitors that realize we can compete with one another, but we don't have to compete against one another. Y'all gonna catch that, and I just might make that a t-shirt. But again, without any further ado, I want to take this time to introduce to some and present to everyone my friend, my colleague, Miss Lorna Tracey. Lorna, do we have you on the call, ma'am?
Yes, Lorna, I am. How is it going, Rod?
It's going good. Wagwan.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Nothing.
All the way from the Isle of Yeah. So, Lorna, go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
So my background, 24 years ago, I came from Jamaica, and I came here. I went to school. I did what I was told to do. Of course, go to school, get a good education, get a good job, and then I'll be financially free. So I did that, and then I got my bachelor's, my master's, of course, my CPA license, and I love it. And then 13 years ago, I decided that I am going to build something for myself, and that was how I walked away, trying to see. At that time, I'm thinking in my head, I'm going to try to see what I can do. But then I realized that it's not about trying, it's about go getting it done. So I spoke with someone, and he said to me, listen, you ain't got no business just yet, but the fact that you could walk away, you're going to be very successful. You're going to become successful because you walked away with pretty much nothing. Most individuals would be like, I got to have this, I got to have that before walking away, but I did it.
Right. So that's interesting. I didn't know that you just walked away. So what was the mindset that you had when you just walked away? What caused you to be able to say, you know what, Lorna, we're just going to walk away?
At the time, I just wanted to build something that I could transfer to my son and then his children and to family. And I know if I continue to work on a job, that's impossible to do. It will never, ever happen. I cannot transfer my job to my son. I cannot transfer it to anybody. I got to walk away and leave it at some point. So then I made the decision to walk away early, go build something for myself so that I can pass it on. So to me, it was like, I need to build a legacy.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So you left Jamaica. So what part of Jamaica are you from? Boop, 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 boop. I got
to So I was born, for those who know Kingston, I was born at 39 Clarence Road. That's what is written on my birth certificate. That's in the heart of Kingston. And then my parents moved up to in the Gordontown area, in the hilly area. And that was where I lived and my friends were like living more in Kingston. So I was most times hanging out with them in the off with 2 mile. My friends were living there. We were there.
Okay, I think we're having a little technical difficulties there, Lorna. Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear me?
Okay, I think I can kind of hear you, but I think you've frozen a little bit there. Mic check, just one more time.
Yeah, I think that we went. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So the last thing I heard was about the hilly part of Kingston. Okay, there you go. So the last thing I heard was.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me, Lorna?
I can hear you now.
Okay, all right. Yeah, the last thing I heard was about the hilly part of Kingston. That's the last thing I think we heard.
Right. I can hear you now. So my parents, they moved from Kingston, in the heart of Kingston, to Gordontown, and then I was like back and forth between Gordontown and my friends. My church friends, they were living in a place called 2 Mile, so I was like most times there as well.
Okay, all right. So I think you need to cut down your background because I can hear the feedback there. But either way, so that being said, why leave Kingston and come to the US of A?
The opportunity. So I worked with the government for a few years, and then I worked privately after that, and then I moved into a job that was just not challenging. So I
Mm,
walked away from it. I walked away from that job, and I went somewhere else for and worked for 8 months. And during my like 6 months, I realized that you're gonna leave because this is not what you're looking for. You need something greater than this. So
okay.
I decided to resign. So I resigned and decided that I am gonna head here to go to school. And that
Really?
was it. So I have friends who said, but what if you don't get a job? What if you don't get this? What if you don't get that? And my answer was always, but what if I get the best job? What if I meet the best people? What if everything work out? What are you going to say?
Wow. Wow. So that sounds like it was a leap of faith that you had to be able to just walk away from a job.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow. And how what developed that faith, right? Because it's not like you just walked away from the job and you were still with mom and pops. You walked away from the job, got on a plane, and came to another country.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about that.
So you know what, I always believe in myself, and my parents, they were not in a position to really do a lot for me from I was, apart from sending me to school, high school, of course.
Mm,
So college, etc., and anything above high school, I know that I had to do it on my own. So I was that person that I consider myself a great go-getter. When I learned to bake, I started baking and selling, and everything was like, I got to do something for me. So I remember one day when I had my son, and I remember I think was it the thumbtack? No, he used a crazy glue to sort of cover his eyes in an accidentally. He was, bothering with it, troubling it, and he pierced his eye up. And that paced his
oh,
eyes up. And I said to myself, Mom, I have to turn this to God because only God can help him right here. And
mm,
I just say, God, what am I going to do? And I popped it open. That was when I realized that my trust was never, ever in a person. My trust was always in God.
mm,
I realized that very, very early, that my trust was always in God. So to me, walking away was like, I am going to do it my way with God's help.
mm. Okay, that's phenomenal. So you saw the ability, or you saw the opportunity, and from the opportunity, you jump on a plane, you get to the U.S. Then what happened?
So before coming here, I applied to schools and they all accepted. They all accepted, but I wanted to get out so quick. So I came to the one that would take me like immediately. So I got out and I started college. When it was time for me to get here, I got sick. Whatever happened, I wasn't feeling well, and my doctor told me you can't travel as yet. You got to wait until your throat is better. So by the time I got here, the semester started, but it was okay. And I remember a friend of mine, she said that I could stay somewhere. And I said, okay. She found somewhere that I could stay for about a month or two. And then I went and I looked for a place to live. The rest is history.
Wow. Wow. And so here you are. So you're mastered, you have a CPA, and I believe you told me that once before that you actually practice with your CPA business as well. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So life is good. You've won, right? You came here as an immigrant. You overcame a lot of things. You rose to the highest levels in business. Where's insurance come into that video? Where's
So insurance was never something that I thought about getting involved in, but I learned about insurance very, very early. From like 19 or 20 years old, someone mentioned about a policy, and I said, okay, so it's going to grow some cash. And they're like, yeah. So I just started putting that money away, and every month, and I would pay for months. And I looked at it like years after, maybe more than 20 or 25 years after, and I saw the cash that it accumulated, right? So I took it out and I used it. Now, so when I quit corporate and I was working, a friend of one of my clients actually gave me a book to read. It's called The E-Myth. And when I read that book, I realized that if I work alone as an accountant or with 2 or 3 people, then I'll be working until I'm 100 years old.
Mm.
So with that, I said, God, you got to help me to find something that can give me financial freedom. That's number one. Number two, that I can help more individuals to be financially free.
Mm.
So then I got that phone call from somebody I've never met. I just did some work with her dad years ago, and she was in this insurance business. He gave her the number to contact her and ask her. She was afraid to call me. I'm like, why would you be afraid? I said, no, I mean, I'll come out and support. He's my client. So I went and I saw the opportunity, and I'm like, I'm in.
Right.
And that was it. That was a game changer.
Wow. And 13 years later, I know. Wow, that's amazing. Now, I always love to ask this question because when we're talking about faith, sometimes there are people who will get you to one place and they drop off. Is that person that introduced you to the business, are they still around?
No, I haven't seen her in years. We bumped into each other probably 2020, probably about 2020. That's 5 years ago. But I haven't seen her. We are not in communication, but it's okay. Because
Wow.
she said something to me. She said, when you came on board, you're like a peach. You just need to find people like yourself and better. She said, because number one, you were coachable, you wanted to do something, you never had excuses, and God is going to provide. Her words were, God is going to provide for you. Just stick it out.
Wow. That's impressive. So as I listen to you talk, I can draw a lot of similarities to Abraham. Because Abraham left his home looking for a city whose builder and maker was the Lord. That's what the scriptures say. Lorna left her home. Well, before she left her home, she left a job that it sounded like most people were comfortable with that job. But Lorna
Very.
said, no, it's not for me. I want more. Is that because you feel like your faith was larger than where you were? Is that how you feel?
You broke up a little. What was the question? I heard
Yeah,
up to you left the job.
yeah. So basically, you left the job. Do you feel like your faith is what actually allowed you to be able to take all the steps that you've taken?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely. Because without faith, you ain't going to do anything because you're going to be depending on what is happening around you today. You're going to depend on the family and the friends around you, but and not God. But the minute you
mm,
start to depend on the source, which is only God, then
mm.
He's going to open the windows. He's going to open the doors constantly. It may take 5 years, it may take 10 years, but He will do it as long as we all become very obedient. So for me, it's like putting my trust and my faith in God.
Okay, wonderful. So, with that being said, you're in this country. You're now starting another business, right? You're starting out on something for yourself that's legacy. Um, who was your target audience when you got started in the business?
At first, I was like, I want to talk to everyone. So I talked to everybody. Every my clients, my friends, my professors. I needed everybody to know exactly what I was doing. And they
Right.
all showed up to see the overviews, see the presentations, and they supported me. They're like, I'm going to refer you to this person, that person. But then the more that the longer I'm in the business and I'm talking to more people, I realized that Generation X, my age group, Generation X people, they need help. We need help. I know that for sure. We
Yes,
all need help because we were told go to school, get a good education, get a
yes,
good job, and everything else will be okay. But it's
exactly.
not working that way for all of us. It's not
Yes,
that way. We got
yes,
to get up and go do something.
yeah. Yeah, well, I think that's part of because we came during the disco era, and they were too busy partying and Soul Train lining and bell bottoms and the big hats, and they were too busy partying to really put us where we need to be, right? I'm just saying that's my that's what I remember. Yeah, and I'm not going to talk about the marriage scene and all that. But if you listen to the music tells you what it was all about. It was never about, hey man, it was about, hey,
Exactly.
let's party. It's Friday night. So it's ladies' night. And I feel all right. Oh, what a night! You get what I mean? So anyway, yeah. So so again, so what kind of challenges did you have, or did you have any, being an immigrant that is now moving into a business and into an arena where people really aren't even comfortable talking about it, such as retirement planning and insurance?
You know what? Um, the challenge is you just have to follow up with individuals. So if I talk to John, I talk to Mary, and they're like, not interested. What I'm going to do, I'm going to ask them, is it okay for me to follow up with you 2 months from now,
Yes.
2 years from now? And I still
Mm,
follow up with them
mm,
because then there's going to be a turnaround. They're going to say, oh my God, why didn't I do such and such at that time? I said,
mhm,
we're like that. We're the greatest procrastinators in life.
mm.
So until a person is actually ready to sit down and have that conversation, then there's nothing you can do. Just follow up and keep moving.
Right.
Just follow up and keep moving. Have I been like trying to lock on to someone who is not really like in it? And like sometimes I may feel discouraged. Of course, I've gone through that.
Mm.
But it's like, you know what? Leave it alone. Keep moving. Just keep moving.
Right. So again, I guess I'll say it another way. Have you found yourself? How has the reception been with your fellow Jamaican people?
It's a mixture because I have a lot of clients and they're Jamaicans. I have a lot of clients from different countries.
Mm.
Jamaicans, I have no problem. The ones who are like open, it's okay. The ones that are closed, it's okay. I just keep moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because again, I think sometimes, I know at least on the exterior, And I'm not one that believes in just painting things with a broad paintbrush. But I do know that certain demographics support one another more so than others. And when you look
That's
at
true.
like the Asians, the Latin people, the Caribbean people, they support one another much better than if I can call it traditional Americans, those that citizens that were born here, right? And it's amazing because when you go and look at it from a business standpoint, as I look in the, again, just around town, I'll just use it like this, where I live. And then even as I travel, it's amazing to me how there are more Mexican restaurants everywhere than regular American restaurants. You get what I'm saying? I'm talking about like, sit down restaurants. But
sit down.
like, yeah. But like in the town where I live, right? It's like 6,000 people in the town, 9,000 in the county. There are 2 Mexican restaurants with 1 more on the way. I mean, that's crazy. But then when I think about the sit down places, you have, just a few sit down places. So again, when you look at it, and then you go there and you always, matter of fact, it's 3. I'm sorry, it is 3 with 1 more on the way.
Wow.
And so it's like when you look at it like that, it's like, I mean, and again, don't shoot me, but Mexican food is okay, but it ain't that good. So
No.
but again, it's like they come here, and they have a vision which sounds like it's a lot like what you have, where they just come here and they don't care about anything other than establishing business in a new market. And so with that being said, that's one of the things that I really, really love about the Caribbean people and those other people that come here, because they normally support one another when somebody goes into a business of sorts. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. But one thing I will always say is that because insurance business is one where sometimes people, they really don't want to hear about insurance. But if you're like, you know what, I need to just talk to you, I need to share information with you, and you follow up with them, they'll come around back to you like even 10 years after. But yes, I do understand sometimes there's not the support in, when you're just getting started, there's not the support from probably your, even people that some of your friends, maybe some families, and you're expecting that, oh, my people are going to support me. Not necessarily. But guess what? We're in a country where it's over 300 million people. So you just go and keep looking outside of probably your own neighborhood.
Exactly right.
But then what I do also is I support my people as well. I support my people. And supporting my people, they sometimes ask me, what do you do?
Got it.
I just keep supporting individuals.
Got it. So more of a seed time and harvest type ordeal, right?
Exactly.
Wonderful. No, that's amazing. So where are you located, Lorna? Where exactly are you located?
So I have an office here in Pompano. It's at 1280 Southwest 36th Avenue, and this is in Pompano.
Okay, Pompano Beach, Florida, for those of y'all that don't know. Pompano
pretty
Beach,
close
Florida.
To Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, down there in South Florida. Again, special place in my heart because, again, I'm from Palm Beach County myself, so definitely a special place in my heart. Okay, so Lorna, as we get ready to bring this to a close, what's next? What's next for Lorna Tracey and your organization?
So what's next for me is just educating every single person that I meet. So even after church today, I went to the gas station and I met a few persons there and I just connected with them, and I'll be talking to them tomorrow. And by the time I get to the office here, I met one person downstairs and I got the person's information. We're going to talk again tomorrow. So for me, it's like I need to be able to transform lives. The only way I can do that is talk to every single person. Every single person. I don't care. The only thing that they can actually say is, I'm okay. And
Right.
that's good.
Right.
But for the most part, it's all about transforming lives, because I need to build brokers. I need individuals to be able to help their families to change their family lives. I mean, I have like brokers and they're making over $100,000 in income. My
Yeah.
goal is to just expand on that, so that by the end of the year, God's willing, to have like 6 more like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's gonna take work, but I'm willing to work, because you see, I went to church this morning, I went home, and I'm in my office.
Yes.
Am I gonna do that every day? No, because I do take time off. I do take time off. Yes.
Right. Well, no, that's amazing. So, what does it mean? I heard you said you wanted to build brokers. So, for those out there that don't understand per se what it means when we say build a broker, what does that mean when you say that?
So I'm looking for individuals who are like, you know what? I'm making money. I'm making my 60, 70, 80, $100,000, but I still do not have my retirement. I'm still
Mm,
not where I'm supposed to be, and I would
mm,
love to do something.
mm,
I'm looking for individuals, not necessarily from the insurance industry, from
mm,
something totally different, whether it's accounting like myself, because you
mm,
can help a lot of families. Accounting, my brokers are from nursing, medical backgrounds. So it
mm.
doesn't matter your career, wherever you are, as long as you have that will to win for your families, then of course, I would love to talk to you.
Right. I mean, I think that's a fair point because with the massive number of companies and jobs that are laying off today, it's critical for people to make sure that they're taking their own posterity into their hands. Um, I feel so bad for people that just have that one source of income, um, because now that means you're basically at the mercy of this job.
Exactly.
And that is a dangerous place to be,
Yes, it is.
especially in today's time. Um,
Exactly.
because again, we don't know what's going to happen. Industries that we thought would never change have changed, right? Like people think we used to think there'll always be factory jobs. Well, guess what? Factories are closing down.
Closing.
We used to think, oh, become a teacher because there's always going to be a teaching job. Well, guess what? Kind of not, right? So I think to that point, what you bring up is a fair point. People need to have a second source of income, uh, and not just to have a second source of income, but also to make sure that you're not just spending the income, that you're one, eliminating debt that you have, but secondly, that you're stockpiling money. And I heard you bring up about retirement. Count them out. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let you go. Now, as a CPA, when you sit down with someone and you start planning for retirement, what again, as a CPA versus a life broker, what does that conversation sound like? How different is the conversation that you had with them as a CPA versus now being a life broker?
Okay. So as a CPA, it was mainly about your business and your money. However, when I purchased my first life insurance policy here, I learned more about insurance. And
Mm,
so the agent would have asked me for referrals. So I was like sort of helping them to understand, hey, you got to save towards your retirement. Here's this person's number. Here's this
mm,
person's number. Talk to them. Talk to them. But so now, so the more that I did that, some people were like, if you were doing it, I would want to do it with you because you're going to explain it better. I'm not
mm,
sure if that person is going to be in my interest. So now that I am in the industry, I learn and I'm passing it on to my folks. So I'm just doing the analysis as to where they are, where they want to go, and see how best they can be helped. Teaching them how to make additional income, teaching them how to save money, and ensure that they do have something for retirement and not to be working at age 100.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say is, basically, the CPA hat is different from the broker hat. And you saw where being a broker, it was really more about, hey, this is what you need versus, a CPA saying, hey, go talk to this guy or go talk to that guy. Now you're able to break it down a little bit more and make sure people understand and actually serve them. Is that what I heard?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Phenomenal. Well, listen, Lorna, it's been a joy. What's one thing that you would like for the people to know as we get ready to wrap up? What's one thing that you want the people to know about you, or one thing you want to say to the people as we get ready to get up out of here?
Contact me for learning more about your retirement, learning more about what is called living benefits, understanding that, hey, what I have in my 401k may not be enough. For the most part, it's not enough. And just be open to have that conversation so that you can put something in place before the need arises. That's it.
Right. Yeah, and again, that's so key. I talk so much about retirement because I just turned 50 this year, and I can say that since I've been in the financial services industry, I have thought more about my retirement than I did before the insurance industry. You get what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
I realized how much work I have to do. Because as I grow older, I just cannot see myself working a job or really working past age 60. I'm there now. I can't see myself working past 60. But I also understand that you have to have enough money to justify the fact that you're not going to work past the age of 60. So again, you bring up a great point about that. So folks, that's our time. I'm Rod Hickman. We're so glad to have on International Women's Day, we have an international woman, Lorna Tracey. Boop, 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 boop. Blood fire.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Jamaica.
having me. Have a great evening. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, listen, everybody, it's me once again. Again, as I always tell you all, knowledge is not power until it is applied. You can have an 18-wheeler truck that's gassed up, ready to go, but until you put it in gear and actually apply the clutch, it's not going anywhere. So I hope that what you have heard today, you will actually take to your life, apply it, put it in gear. Again, till we do next time, y'all take care. God bless. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.